when you feel afraid, it's okay. That's normal. Hey, it's Keith Yackey here, and I'm excited for this video to share with you one of the things that I get asked a lot in coaching real estate entrepreneurs how to raise private money, or coaching just anybody, to better their life and to live the life they want. One of the things they talk to me about constantly, and one thing that I was actually nervous about early on, was I feel fear. I'm nervous about taking the next step, or I'm scared to talk to somebody about raising private money. Talking to people about raising private money is probably very much like a guy walking up to a pretty girl and asking her out, or saying hey, or whatever line he uses. And so the interesting thing for me that I've come to realize about that pit in your stomach, that knot in your throat, your hands might get sweaty, is that is your body saying, we are about ready to enter the growth zone. You've everything else now you're comfortable with, but now you're on high alert. The best analogy I can think of is, remember when you learned how to drive a car? Remember how you focused on everything, the wheel, you're 10 and 2, and if you drove a stick, that was like its own new thing to try and learn. You're backing up, you're over the shoulder, your signal, me, or over the shoulder go when you're changing lanes, everything is a big deal and you're super hyper on it. And then you get super, super comfortable. And then if you go to one of these exotic car racing places, they had one in Vegas that I went to, and same thing. It's a car, I get it. I've driven a lot of supercars, but when I'm driving on a track and I'm going, almost 200 miles an hour, I don't know if that's how fast you go, but it felt like that. And they're telling you when to brake, when to go, when to, all this stuff. It's a whole new heightened level of awareness. Now, why does our body do this? Why do we feel this? And some people shrink away and some people move into it. I think it's just understanding. It's understanding that for me to be able to accomplish what I'm wanting to accomplish, and remember, when I first started raising private money, I was deathly afraid. I didn't know what to say. I kind of did, but not really. I didn't have real good coaching. I kind of heard this and kind of heard that and kind of had to fumble my way around on it. But the difference between the person that gets really great at raising private money has a couple of understandings. Number one, if you're going to do multiple deals and you're starting off with no money, it does take money to make money. It just doesn't have to be yours. So you're going to have to learn how to raise private money. It's like that thing that you're like, I'm just going to learn how to do this. Kind of like a guy who says, if I'm ever going to get married, I'm going to have to learn how to talk to women if I'm ever going to get one to like me and want to marry me. So it's, first of all, you have this understanding of, I'm going to have to learn this. The second thing is that understanding of saying, hey, listen, for me to be able to do this game at the level I want, I am going to have to be able to do this. So I've got to get comfortable with this. And the truth of the matter is, my body is telling me we need to grow. So therefore, I'm going to lean into it to grow. I'm going to have to lean into this, and I'm going to have to acquire this skill. And I might fumble it. And I think that's where most people are the most afraid, is they're afraid of looking stupid. Why? Well, we grew up in a school system here in America where if you got D's and F's, people looked at you like you were stupid. Or if you got held back a grade because you failed, you looked stupid. And so we've learned to try and not look stupid, because that will save us from all that hurt and guilt and shame and other people laughing at us. But the real truth of the matter is, the person that can push through that and says, oh, that's a growth zone. I need to now push myself to get that skill to where this is no longer uncomfortable. That's the person that actually learns it. And I'm telling you, you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be outgoing and gregarious or charismatic. And a lot of times people think, because I teach this and because I'm comfortable on camera, I'm comfortable on stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, that you have to have the same personality as me to be able to do that. That's not true. No, in fact, I found a lot of introverts are just as great or better at raising private money than even an extrovert like myself. But it's that understanding that this is the growth zone, and to expect it to be normal to feel this way. You're going to feel nervous. Another great analogy and story that I remember is, I did stand-up comedy. I did about 150 shows. I was working on the Strip every night in Las Vegas, at my buddy Don's club. It was so much fun. I learned so much. And even though I knew the bits, and even though I knew what was going to go, and I knew where people would laugh, you still got a little bit nervous. And that's biology, man. Your biochemistry is saying, hey, we're putting ourselves out there right now. There's a chance for an acceptance or a rejection, and your body is just going to feel those things. So don't be shocked. I mean, I believe it was Bob Hope or Johnny Carson, one of those two guys, or maybe both, said they still got exceedingly nervous before they went on stage. And these are the guys that had done it for years and years and years nightly with shows and were about as top as you could get when it comes to entertainers. So it still happens to people who are really good or really comfortable. They just become comfortable in how to learn how to navigate through that. But I believe the real thing you want here is to understand the understanding that, listen, when you feel afraid, it's okay. That's normal. You have to just push through that. You're going to flop a couple of times, but that's okay. It's okay. You know, if you follow my methodology and how I open and how I do my very first meeting, then you'll understand what to say. You're still going to be nervous going into it, but being prepared is very, very optimal. And a couple of things, and I'll shoot another video about what you should do in your first meeting. But the truth is, number one, you want to find out, hey, what are they interested in? What returns are they used to getting? What are they looking for? They might just tell you, hey, they just wanted to meet with somebody else and they have no interest in investing at all. They just wanted to meet another investor in the area. Cool. If you knew that was what the meeting was going to be, you'd be relaxed. You'd be like, oh, cool, I'm going to meet another friend, somebody else who enjoys doing what I like doing. That is flipping real estate or buying apartments or whatever. Take the pressure off of the outcome. Now, if you're in a situation where you're like, man, Keith, I got to have this deal. I got to make this deal work or else I'm not going to eat. First of all, I would never encourage somebody to get in that position. You know, work a side job, save up some money, and then, you know, have some cushion. I know that sounds like 1940 advice, but it's really good advice even here today in 2020. But go in with no expectation. Just, hey, I'm going to share an opportunity. If it solves their problem, amazing. If it doesn't, then it wasn't going to be a fit anyway. And I feel like I'm almost teaching guys like how to date women too, because it's the same thing. It's like, if she thinks you're funny and she thinks you're cool, she'll want to be around you. If she doesn't, why would you want to be around her anyway? So we're just having opportunity to meet people, have interactions, and see if there's a similarity with where we want to go. And leave the expectation off the table. Have no expectations. Don't be needy. Don't be stalkerish. Don't be those things. The same rules apply with talking to private investors. When you feel the feeling, A, note that that's normal. Secondly, push on anyways and just look and seek to have a conversation to where you're getting more comfortable having conversations with people. See what they have. Ask good questions. What are you currently investing in right now? What kind of returns are you making? What kind of returns would you be expecting to work if you were to work with me and we were to do a deal together? Then they can let their expectations out. Then you can know what to deal with. And if you don't know what to say, just say, you know what, that's interesting. I've never really thought about it that way. Or let me think on that. Let me sleep on that. And I'll get back to you tomorrow on how we might be able to approach this. And then if you have a good coach, it doesn't have to be me, you can go back to him and say, hey, the investor said this. How should I respond to that? I didn't know what to say. But that's a much better situation that you get to get in there and you go, I don't really know what to say next. And then talk to somebody who does know how to coach you through that, as opposed to never going there at all because you're simply afraid. That's the difference. That's the difference between people who are uglier than you and dumber than you and not as quick as you that are advancing in this game of investing in real estate because they're willing to feel that fear and they keep marching on. They realize this is normal. I'm prepared. I have questions I want to ask. I'm just meeting an old friend, even though they're not a friend, but frame it in your mind that that's the way it is, because they're going to become an old friend eventually if you guys have a great meeting. And also know this, first meetings with investors, they're kind of checking you out and saying, what is the character and integrity and feeling and vibe I get from this human being? Because you could tell them, man, I can get you 12% per annum backed by the real estate. They can probably get that in other places as well. But they're wondering, hey, you're the jockey. Can you actually make this thing happen? Can you actually pull this off? So if you go in there like just an absolute nervous wreck and you're fumbling all over the place and you're folding your napkin, I mean, if you're just acting like a weirdo, they're going to feel that vibe. So take a breath. Release all that tension. And then just walk in there with the intention of saying, hey, let's see if this is a good fit. If it's not, no big deal. If it is, awesome. If this resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you can get videos as we bring them out. Like the video, share it if you want to. If you have other real estate investing friends that go, oh my gosh, you got to hear what this crazy guy's saying. And if you're like, wow, man, Keith, that was some pretty good insight. I'd like to learn more and see what you have to offer. There's a link in the description below, or you can just go to privatemoneypro.com and learn how you can possibly work with me or get some of my materials to help you really up-level your game and raising private money. With that, take care.